You tap your card on a little machine. It beeps. A coffee is now yours. You didn't say a single word to another human being. You didn't prove you were trustworthy. You didn't offer your firstborn as collateral. You just tapped plastic near a screen and walked away with a warm drink like it's the most normal thing in the world. It is not normal. It is actually insane if you think about it for more than 4 seconds. So here's the question. When did we all agree that a beep means, yes, this stranger deserves goods? When did humans decide a coin, a bill, or a flicker on a banking app could replace an actual conversation, an actual relationship, actual trust? Buckle up, because the real story is way weirder than someone invented coins one day. Let's rewind. Way back. For roughly 290,000 years, humans lived on this planet with zero money. Not different money. Not seashells that don't count. Zero. No coins, no bills, no crypto, nothing. And somehow humanity didn't just collapse into chaos. People still ate, still built shelters, still had drama at family gatherings. Probably. So how did that even work? Picture this. You're in a tribe. Someone goes out, kills a deer, and instead of hoarding the whole thing like a weirdo, they hand out chunks of meat to everyone. Not because they're a saint, because now everyone owes them one. Not on paper, in their heads, in their guilt. In the group's collective memory, which, let's be honest, works better than most modern accounting software. That IOU doesn't get repaid with cash. It gets repaid later, whenever it's needed. Maybe someone covers your shift on lookout duty. Maybe someone shares grain with you during a rough season. Maybe someone literally saves your life in a fight. Because remember, you gave them deer meat that one time. The whole tribe was basically a running tab, and everyone just remembered who owed who. No wallet required. Kind of genius, right? Except it had one enormous, glaring problem. It only works if everyone already knows each other. Try pulling the "you owe me one" card on a total stranger from 3 valleys over who you will literally never see again. Good luck. That guy does not care about your feelings or your tribal reputation. And that's exactly the wall humans slammed into as they started traveling more, meeting other groups, wanting stuff those other groups had. You needed a new system. Something that worked even between 2 people with 0 relationship and 0 reason to trust each other. Inner barter. The classic, I'll trade you this for that system that every school kid assumes was basically how the ancient world worked. Except here's the twist nobody tells you. Straight up barter, in the clean, simple way you're picturing it, barely worked in real life. It has this brutal flaw. Let's say you have grain and you desperately want wool. Great, except the wool guy doesn't want grain. He wants, I don't know, a chicken, and you don't have a chicken. Now you're just standing there awkwardly, holding grain nobody wants, and the trade dies before it even starts. So humanity needed something smarter, something almost magical, an object that everybody, even strangers, even people who hate each other, could agree was worth something. And the first attempts at that were, frankly, hilarious in hindsight. In parts of ancient China, people started using cowrie shells as basically an early currency. Small, shiny seashells from far-off coastlines. Why shells? Because they were rare where people lived, hard to fake, and durable enough to carry around without falling apart. This became such a big deal that ancient Chinese characters related to money and wealth are literally built using the symbol for shell. Imagine explaining that to someone today. Yeah, my rent is basically seashells. In places without an ocean nearby, other things stepped up to be money instead. Cattle counted as currency in a lot of early societies, which honestly explains a lot about why owning cows made you a big deal for most of human history. And in some ancient economies, salt became so valuable it was practically treated like gold. Salt kept food from rotting in a world with 0 refrigeration, so it wasn't just a seasoning, it was survival in crystal form. Fun fact for you, the word salary comes from salt, because at times, Roman soldiers were literally paid partly in the stuff. Imagine asking your boss for a raise and getting handed a bag of table seasoning. Notice the pattern forming here, though. None of these early monies were random. Shells, cattle, salt, they all needed to check the same 3 boxes. Rare enough to matter, durable enough to survive being carried around, and universally wanted enough that basically everyone agreed on the value without some government forcing them to. Then, around 600 BCE, in a kingdom called Lydia, in what's now Western Turkey, someone had an idea that changed literally everything. Actual stamped metal coins, not shells, not cows. Metal discs made from a natural gold and silver blend, with an official symbol pressed right into them. This wasn't just new material, same idea. This was a completely different concept. A piece of metal that total strangers could agree had a fixed, trustworthy value because a ruler basically stamped their reputation onto it and said, "Trust me." This is genuinely the moment trade stopped needing personal history between two people and started needing trust in a symbol instead. And once that idea existed, it spread like wildfire. Within a couple centuries, coins were popping up independently across Greece, Persia, and eventually Rome, with each civilization racing to stamp their own little "trust me" symbols onto metal discs. Now, this is exactly where things get interesting, because historians and anthropologists who've dug into this stuff have found something that wrecks the whole story you probably learned in school. Historian David Graeber, who spent years researching the actual history of debt and trade, pointed out that clean, simple, textbook-style barter economies almost never really existed the way we imagine them. Real early trade leaned way more on trust, memory, and community debt than a straightforward object-for-object swap. And anthropologist Marcel Mauss, studying tribal gift economies decades earlier, found that giving in these societies wasn't really about kindness at all. It created obligation, debt, social weight that everyone quietly tracked without ever writing a single number down. Here's the part that should genuinely wreck your brain a little, though. Money was never actually about the object. You cannot eat a coin. Gold does not keep you warm at night. A stack of cash cannot fight off a bear. Money has only ever been a shared hallucination. A wildly successful, extremely convincing agreement between millions of strangers to all pretend the same object matters. The coin, the bill, the number glowing on your banking app right now, none of it has any real power on its own. It has power purely because everyone agrees to believe in it, all at the same time, all day, every day. Sit with that for a second. You will show up to a job this week and trade your actual time, your actual energy, your actual one and only life for numbers that exist inside a database somewhere. Numbers you can't hold. Numbers you technically can't even see. Not really. And yet that invisible group agreement is strong enough to build entire cities, launch actual rockets into space, and start real wars. Your caveman ancestors, weirdly, would not have been confused by coins at all. A rock with a symbol stamped on it? Sure, easy, got it. That's basically a fancy shell. What would actually break their brain is the world you're living in right now, where the coin isn't even physical anymore. Where your entire wealth is just a tiny burst of electricity, representing an agreement between two banks you will never meet, moving faster than you can blink. So next time you tap your card, or send someone money with your thumb, or watch a number silently update on your screen, remember what that number actually is. It's not really currency, not deep down. It's the longest, most successful trust experiment our species has ever pulled off, quietly running in the background of your entire life, so smooth you never even notice it's happening. 290,000 years with zero coins, then shells, then cattle, then salt, then stamped metal, then paper, then pure digital belief, floating around in the clouds somewhere. Same instinct the entire time, though. Find something everyone can agree matters. Then let that agreement carry the weight that actual trust used to carry, back when we all just remembered who owed who a chunk of deer meat. You're not just buying a coffee when you tap that card. You're taking part in the longest running group agreement our entire species has ever managed to keep going. And somehow, against all odds, it still works.